Okay, so the colors are washed out again. I don't know why it always does this. It's really annoying. It means I have to change the video format every single time I do this. It's just like an extra step for no reason. But here we go. I know to take that extra step. So I'm not seeing any game audio. I'm not hearing any game audio either. Why am I not hearing any? Why am I not hearing any audio? Why am I not hearing any audio? Input device, Yeti microphone. Yep. Output device, Trex Air, Aftershocks. Yep, so I should be hearing it. And then Aftershocks. Yeah, all the other volumes set to 100. Yeah, I should be hearing it. Why do I have no audio? Why does the Switch have no audio? Okay, I don't know why I don't have audio. Why did the color just change? Why did the color just change? Okay, I had to fix the color again. Alright. So where's the audio? Desktop audio. Like if I press the soundboard button? Yeah, there's desktop audio. Okay, so that means the Switch isn't outputting audio. Okay, maybe if I take the Switch out of its cradle. And put it back in the cradle? And I have no audio. And the color's all screwed up again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there's the color fix. Why don't I have audio? What is preventing audio from playing out of my speakers? Because that comes out of my headset, so... There's no audio in my headset because there's no audio coming out of the Switch. There's audio coming out of the Switch when I pick the Switch up out of the cradle. But there's no audio coming out of the Switch when the Switch is plugged into the TV. I have no idea what to do. This is... I don't know. It worked last stream, so... I'm kind of at a loss. I honestly don't know what to do. I don't even know where to start. Output device. But it doesn't matter the output device because I'm not getting any audio from... Using your old headphones? It doesn't appear to be a headphone. Huh. Okay, so what I did was I unplugged my headphones that were charging, and that fixed the issue. Okay. Yeah, I can hear it. Sure, unplugging my charging headphones made it work. Let me just adjust it a little bit. Okay. So we should be good. I think the game audio might be slightly... I don't know. I turned it down to tiniest little bit. Alright, here we are. We're in the... we're doing... cross-examination of our first set of witnesses, I think. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded Procurio Cario. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. So I think, Yes! What? I didn't say to do anything. So this black uniformed university cadet, you're saying that was... Ah! I've had just about enough of your sauce, cadet. Who else do you see around here in a black uniform, huh? Well, there's someone standing right next to me who fits the description as well, but... It was you, you little weasel! You unloaded the firearm on that man! From behind his back, and you call yourself a citizen of the great empire of Nippon? You disgust me. What is it, Ryunosuke? I'm not quite sure. It's something that the sergeant just said, but I can't put my finger on it. Something's playing on my mind. In that case, check back over the details of the evidence you've gathered in the court record, because he was shot in the front, remember? Oh, I missed the whining baby sound. Yeah, we need to figure out what that is. And if you find an inconsistency there with what the witness just said, then don't hold back. Present the evidence to the court, thrust it in the witness's face, and make him choke on it. It's the post-mortem report. Gunshot in the chest. Yes! They're all just stunned silence. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting a wad of paper in my mustache. Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this document possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there's no place for amateur students here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. What? Wait, the baby sound has to do with being shot? I have no idea what it is. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what are you talking about? It's apparent from the single glance at the post-mortem report presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Iesu knows. Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military grade eyes, sir. Yes! Yes, but no, that can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... As is clearly stated in the post-mortem report, Fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma. No exit. Bullet did not pass through the body. The photographic print of the victim clearly shows the same thing. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ah! Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Oh, he literally has a baby on his back. That's what that sound is. Oh, that's what that tie thing is on this front, because he has like a baby carrier. I don't know why. What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there is a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. Japanese Waluigi? Yeah, while in the military, like, I don't know. The mom didn't want to be a stay-at-home military mom or something. What? The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Iesa Nosa, did not see the defendant firing the gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for amateur prosecutors here in this grand courtroom. Yeah! Inconsistency Seer awarded. There's an achievement. There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. Yes! Yes! I mean, no, but I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either. Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Is he just like a hobo that eats food off the floor or something? Treasure. Indeed! Oh, the Hoyera Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is in my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rasute, in the hopes of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was the military man that I proffered my Hui treasure. Believe that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with a little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. The golden sphere disappeared from my eyes. I mean coin, not sphere. It simply vanished. The Koban vanished. Hunting around under the table I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. Bang! You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded not, for I was only concerned with finding my absconded Hui treasure. Nothing could distract me. I was locked in. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? I see. That lamentable day, the precious Huecoban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scandal pocketed the prize coin for himself. He's looking over at the military man who's looking away. Because he thinks that he did it. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. Exclamation point! My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could have possibly committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko Glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative! The newest member of the Nosa family to rise up in the ranks, sir. His name is Ido. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, sir. So his name is I don't know. Okay. It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido, Tin Shun! Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it was almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was that young lad in the black. That much I did see myself. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are certainly compelling. Yes! Wait, that's nonsense, because that other lady was there. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all. Please, enough of these outbursts already. But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her. Objection! If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. This is a photographic print of the scene of the crime. Counsel? Sorry, I was like trying to say that line. Indeed. Of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. There's no second place for somebody to eat at this table. That's probably what he's going to say. Hydrate. Look at this photo. Ooh, a Jangmo. As can plainly be seen, there is only one place set. That's because she's drinking tea because they're English.
Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else.
That doesn't make any sense.
And the court will add this new photographic evidence to the record.
The photographic print of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. I don't understand. I shine my shoes, press my pants. Why don't they believe me? What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. Now I know that was ad-libbed, it sure was. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him.
It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to the Great Britain on time, after all. The witness testimonies we've just heard leave no room for doubt.
These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that Takasuchi Auchi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor.
How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule.
Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet.
What?
If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination.
I don't know, Kazuma.
The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witness, but make it quick. Understood?
Rules can be so unbending at times.
Ugh!
The true culprit.
Okay, this is just their dialogue that they said before that's now being used as their testimony. Okay, so there's gotta be a way to run the text a little bit faster. At least in this section would be nice. Let's see here. Text is skippable? I don't know if it's skippable. It's not skippable, it's... I just want it to go slightly faster. There's really nothing for text speed? That's... in every Ace Attorney game. What the crap? Like, why do I have to see it get typed out? Okay. Okay, we have to find the discrepancy, so we're gonna have to put on our thinking caps and we're gonna have to think about it with our brains, okay? Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. We can press that.
Yes!
No, it's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of an uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so.
Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked.
Did you?
Did you see it? Did you see me blink?
How could I?
And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it.
Have what? Tension! The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman.
I think that says it all, don't you?
I mean, not really. It's Grr!
And let us not forget the antiques dealer witnessed the accused in the most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Kurikuda-san?
He's like, I mean, I guess I saw it, although I am blind and I was looking for the golden sphere, but... Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was, that young lad in black, that much I did see myself.
Yes!
yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I told you already, it's only because I picked it up off the floor.
Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away.
I had just finished drinking my coffee and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. At that exact moment, bang! I accidentally shot him in the chest. I mean, somebody else shot him in the chest. A gunshot rang in my ears. Full of events beyond our control, life is. Sorry? What do you mean? In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas, conversely, I failed to pick up the Koban from the floor. Accidentally shot him in the chest. Yeah, that was an ad-lib if you couldn't tell. I failed to pick up the Koban off the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains I did see you, with a pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner. Bang, bang, it went, I say. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel. But there was a lady! Yes! You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady.
Objection!
As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman.
There's a callus in my throat. Ugh! If only there'd been more people dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. A quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect.
Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency, there is indeed a reason.
There was?
This was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
What is it, Counsel?
It's a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
Hota Clinic. Oh, wait, that's a reference. That's an Ace Attorney reference. I mean, we're playing Ace Attorney. But the mainline games, there's a guy named Dr. Hota, I think, and he's super creepy. He's always like doing this in his little idle animations.
Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. November 19th, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident.
So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple.
It's gonna be like, the victim was not able to sit for a while after his prostate exam.
The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case.
I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it's hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted for evidence or not? Yeah, sure, why not? So I can see it. Yes! Yes! If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence here, Your Excellency.
On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to this arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
I objection you.
Oh, objection. Whether or not they are concerned is up for us to decide. We have the right to explore all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request.
Why is he sweating? Why are you sweating?
Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend.
That's very accurate of old people, I swear. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. The victim's medical report card has been added to the court record. A medical report card from Hoda Clinic was found in the victim's pocket. What we need right now is clues. Very boomer-esque, yeah. Like, we fought and died for your rights, you better not use them. Or our parents did anyway. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first.
Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you.
Whatever that means.
Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witnesses' testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Kurakuda-san.
Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Alright, so let's look at that evidence then. How do I look at evidence? Is it R? Okay, so... This doesn't actually seem that useful. We know he was at clinic, and we know it was in his pocket. But we don't actually know what the report card says. What does this say? He's eating a steak. He's using his knife and his fork. He had some wine in a wine glass. 1 table seating. Okay. I don't see anything in here that's all that useful. Oh, wait, what was that? Oh, I can zoom in on this 240p photo. Okay. Let's see here. So it's got doors in the corners, probably a kitchen. Yeah, entrance and kitchen. I like how instead of trying to translate it, like change the actual drawing, they just wrote it in Comic Sans. Okay, it's not Comic Sans, but let's see. Shot right there. So anybody could have shot him right next to the entrance and then dipped in like a second. So okay. What do we got here? Shot in the chest. Yeah, the steak and all that stuff is in the same spot, basically. Fork in the same spot. Yeah, I don't know. Post-mortem. It's a British guy. Shortly after 2 p.m. he was shot. That lines up. Single bullet. No exit wound. Alright, let's press on the him being alone thing. So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone?
That I did. Forgive me for the position I place you in. So the testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Interesting, isn't it? And let us not forget the incontestable evidence that we have to support their statements as well. As can clearly be seen, there is only one single beefsteak on the victim's table. A meal for one.
Well, it was after lunch, so the lady could have just been sitting chatting with him.
No.
The antiques dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. Oh, you saved my postcard. Nice. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman over and out. Let's press that.
Yes!
Why aren't you telling the truth? What did you say, cadet? I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed, but for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible. They're both looking away now. Yep. It was her, so they don't want to... Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone. Oh, that's right.
Precisely. In other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady.
But I...
If such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists...
I know them.
The prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time.
There's nothing I can say to that. Excellent work, Rinosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press A and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. I couldn't before, though! The game literally didn't let me. It let me on all the other things, jerks. Use R up, R left, R down, or R right to turn it. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. Yeah, it was literally locked by using L up, L left, L down, L right. You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. There's a long pause, dude. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press A to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there's something new to be learnt by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use R up, R left, R down, R right, L up, L left, L down, L right, and A to inspect any areas of the evidence that look suspicious. I don't know why he had to say it all out like that, but that's fine. Medical report card required for every visit. Hoda Clinic. It says Hoda Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics. Almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection into my right arm. Brr, I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to have only had one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. It's the same dialogue, so I'm skipping it. It looks like this medical report card was first issued quite some time ago. It's probably a record of long-term treatment, that's why. If a family doctor... God dang it. Sometimes I just accidentally press a button. With a family doctor, I imagine. I missed the words I imagine. Whoops. Now I'm pressing buttons to go past it, but I already went past it. Okay. Well, I can't imagine. Going to a doctor, I mean. As long as I'm alive, I'm never consulting one. Well, if you were dead, there'd be no points. So you don't like doctors then? Why would you? Why would you? They make you drink horrible tasting medicine and they give you painful injections. And then they demand lots of money from you for the privilege. All when you're at your lowest ebb. I mean, true though. You sound like a model patient. With a bad case of stubbornness, no less. Which, for the only cure, it gave me healthy curiosity award. Which, for the only cure, is very bitter medicine indeed. Alright. So let's examine this fold here. I like the music. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. And there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you from feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink, besides water, for 3 hours post-procedure unless anesthetic effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The steak was for the lady. But he was sitting at her spot, which is very confusing. Medical report card's information has been updated. A record of dental work. On the day of the murder, the victim had undergone dental treatment and had been prohibited from eating and drinking anything but water. With this new information, the meaning of one particular statement totally changes. So I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely. So all you missed is that we examined the court records, or the medical document that the guy had that they thought didn't mean anything, and it said he wasn't allowed to eat or drink, or he wasn't allowed to eat for 3 hours after the procedure that he had, which was to take out a bad, he was taking out like a wisdom tooth or something. And so that changes anything that has to do with him eating, which one of these people I think says. Inlet black. Visual search so that the only personal presence. Alone he was dining by himself. Okay. So now we can say, but he wasn't even allowed to eat, so how is he dining by himself?
Yes!
Well, I think, what are you wittering, lad? About what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused.
Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it.
Thanks, Kazuma.
I can see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say.
Ding!
Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking.
All right. Thanks for the advice. You're a liar! No. Korakuda-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim.
I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy?
Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection! Dear me, dear me. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
You're not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateurish drivel.
But
let me see if I can explain in words that you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant.
Grr. But that's Remember, Ryanosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further.
I knew he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna go. I didn't even look. I was already halfway to the before I read the dialogue because he always does that.
The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides the pale-faced pupil who could have perpetrated the...
It cut him off. I didn't do that. This medical report card has nothing to do with with the case. I can check the history and see what he said. There's no one else besides the pale-faced pupil who could have possibly perpetrated the crime. Do you really believe that?
What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hoda Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating... Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that can't.
Korakuda-san. What, boy, what? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Grr. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Alright, here goes the music. Ah! Expertly done, partner.
Objection!
What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These are baseless accusations. Just look at the photographic evidence.
My headphones cut out and I can't hear anything anymore. My computer has some weird Bluetooth issue that I need to fix, I think. It affects my mouse too, like my mouse just randomly stops working. But I can hear it every once in a while. I can hear it for like a few seconds before it cuts out.
As you can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
Use your head. That's the very discrepancy that we're talking about. Or can't you follow logic? Yeah, in like 10 minutes, yeah.
How dare you?
I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryanosuke? Yes, most definitely.
So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat.
Oh, I know. I'm sure Davey will text me when he's ready to go.
Which leaves one very crucial conundrum.
But I should grab my wallet. So, thank you.
Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beefsteak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel.
Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around.
Show them what you're made of.
Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been an as yet unknown third party. Obviously, it could have only been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table, like I've been saying the whole time.
Objection! You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person.
Yes! There was, because I saw her.
When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly.
Kazuma,
Are you insane? You would take on the government?
Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you.
What do you mean?
I have issue with them, those two witnesses on the stand. What? What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So, if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, you're gonna fry. That's what's gonna happen. Obviously, you will be charged with perjury. Perjury! And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Ooh.
Complicit in murder? No!
Negative. There was no mention of this in the tactical meeting. I was just following orders.
That's right. As the man says, just say you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us. Oh.
what? What did you just say, Kuda-san?
Oh, no.
You were just following orders?
No, hold on now, lad. I was,
Say you never saw the gentlewoman. When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas?
What?
Objection! What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is it true, you pair?
Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order. Counsel, explain what is going on here. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this.
Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut?
Well,
That's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe that Ouchie had any idea about it. He's too stupid.
What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there's only a handful of possibilities. It could have only been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose.
Well, any idea about who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit.
It was you!
No, I don't know.
So we need to name whoever tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut.
Love how his headscarf is flowing when there's no wind. I know, I love it too. Of course, we'll need evidence before we can make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves that whoever really did wield his or her power here. Evidence of whoever. Yeah, don't forget to save it. I won't.
But how? How can we possibly?
Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a new clue as a result.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose.
So what you're saying is, look at this photograph.
I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait. Your Excellency, I had no idea of any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I couldn't name them, but you know, I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all of this?
Well, Your Excellency, no time to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout the first name that comes to my head. Your mother! Besides the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses is...
Why do they call him Your Excellency? He's a judge, not an emperor. I don't know. Let's see here. Lawyer! Eugen? Professor at the university? I don't think that gives you that much influence to shoot a man or whatever. Lead prosecutor here. Little love for the changes. Cultural knowledge. Head waiter at the restaurant. Could it have been the waiter? Somebody who has influence is what we're looking for. And I don't know like how much influence we talking. They said like the police or the government level. So it have to be the army sergeant, right? Because he's the government here. It has to be the army man, right?
Yes! There! What do you make of that?
I think, counsel, that you may want to close your ears as well as your eyes.
Because he has influence and access to weapons?
Otherwise, the size of disappointment in the courtroom may very well deafen you.
Ah.
If you feel you must close your eyes in a crisis, might I suggest you keep your mouth shut next time, too? Otherwise, I may have to use the influence I have in this courtroom to shut it permanently.
So that was wrong. Yeah. I don't know what it is about the prosecutor exactly, but he really likes to make me wince in pain. Because his name is Ouchie. I don't have a great deal of influence myself, but believe me, I can find other ways to make you keep your mouth shut as well.
Right, alright, don't get angry. I'll think again.
There must be a clue somewhere in all that evidence in the court record.
Actually, now that I think about it, there might be some pieces of evidence I haven't thoroughly examined yet.
And what does the defense say about all this?
Well, Your Excellency, no time to think.
Okay, yeah, we're just back to this again, where he's like, I'm gonna pick a thing. So, we have to examine something, is what it's telling me. So is it... There's no option to examine anything. What do you mean? What do you mean? So it's not the government, which they just said that it was the government, so that's interesting. It's not gonna be a waiter. The only other person I can think is the professor? Because they said that it wasn't Ouchie. Yeah, the woman, but she's not there. Yeah, so... It's not going to be a student.
got to be the professor. But he's just a university professor. Why would he have so much influence? Like, you can be a professor and you can be influential at the same time, but the guy in the hat killed him. He'd have to have killed himself because that's the guy who got shot, right? So the waiter doesn't have political influence. Yeah, that is Wilson. We barely see his face, so I don't blame you. It has to be the professor. There's nobody else.
Yes!
There! What do you make of that? It's wrong. It's also wrong. It's the same dialogue. Then the next influential person has to be Ouchie. He's like, you haven't thoroughly examined stuff yet. But I can't. Yeah, Ouchie said he knew nothing, and Kazuma said that Ouchie wasn't involved either. So, I mean, I'll save so I don't just lose or whatever, but I actually just am confused. Okay. So it's not the literal government man sergeant who has access to guns. It's not the professor who might have influence. It's not Ouchie because the game said that it wasn't Ouchie. It's not John Wilson because he was the one who was the victim. So we literally only are down to Kazuma, who's the student, the waiter, who's just a waiter, or the old man, who is an antique dealer. So the antique dealer, does he have that much evidence? Because it says besides the prosecution. So he said keep your mouth shut, didn't he? Yeah, but it's literally, the game is saying beside the if it didn't say aside from him, I would pick him. Absolutely, he would have been my second pick. Our picks are our friend, the waiter, or the old man. The owner of Rasute. He's the owner of an antique store. Maybe he keeps rare relics for people. Neither have influence. Why would the waiter be able to manipulate the witnesses? The only person with the necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses. So it shouldn't be the witnesses, and it's not Pain. So it's literally our friend or Satoru Hosonaga. It's either our friend or the waiter. Because they're saying the witnesses were manipulated by somebody else, so it couldn't be the old man. Okay. I guess it's the waiter. Yeah, why would our defense do this? So it has to be the waiter by process of elimination and also other confusing things?
Yes!
It's the waiter. Surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga. That's the correct answer. That's pained noises from me. Hosonaga-san, the waiter who took the stand earlier.
Objection!
Poppycock! Or Cocky Pop, whichever one. What possible reference would the waiter have to make? What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. Right? Thank you, audience surrogate. He doesn't have that level of influence, so the question makes no sense that we were trying to answer. For once, I would agree with you. Then why would you make me answer that? Why would you frame it that way? Game? Are you kidding? Well, Oh, excuse me, princess. This is... Okay, the game just tried to hoodwink us, but we got lucky, I guess. Yeah, no problem for banning him. If that is, the man truly were a waiter.
What if he truly were?
Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. But. Excuse me. Okay, I need to use the bathroom. I'm going to use the bathroom, and I'm going to think about it while I'm in there. The truth about Satoru Hasanaga's real identity, as proven by this evidence. It's the business card, I guess. I'm not sure what this is supposed to prove, Counsel.
I think, Your Excellency, that this proves what this proves is not the true nature of the waiter, but the true nature of the accused.
Sorry? Apparently this is wrong, too.
A blackguard who would stoop to presenting irrelevant evidence to incriminate an innocent man. That is the true nature of this record.
Why? Try again. Go over all the evidence. We have one more time. There's something in it that proves who this waiter really is. I'm sure of it. It wasn't the card from the waiter? Come on, Ryunosuke. Okay. I'm confused by that. Why is it not this card? Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga of the Imperial Police Bureau. Like, clearly he has influence. What do you mean, game? What do you mean? This wasn't the right piece of evidence. What do you mean? Okay, I'll be right back. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga. Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. Also, they were like, you should examine the evidence and see, like, who... There's something in there that you're missing. And then it tells you to present and you can't look at the evidence. So I figured they were just talking about reading the personnel files, not looking at this. Doesn't make any sense. The game misdirected me. It lied. Yeah, basically playing Ace Attorney, one of the games I never got to. There's like 8 games that I could play, and I'm on like, this is like the 4th one. Not the 4th in the series, but yeah, it's great. 8 games that I could be playing. 8 of them! And we're playing the 4th one. Not the 4th game in the series, but the 4th. Anyway. How dare this game do that to me? I have to. I'm just gonna spell this out. I have to leave. I'm just waiting for somebody to show up, so I should just be as ready as I can. Yeah, I was hoodwinked. Absolutely. But he said he is taking a shower first, so I don't know how long of showers he takes. So, oh, my shoes are right here. I don't even have to leave the room. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Let's get my shoesies on. And we'll push through this tutorial case real quick and we'll see what the main game is like. I'm basically ready to go. I got my wallet. I got my pants. I don't know what else I really need. Where did I put my passport earlier? I had it out. Nah, it doesn't matter. Wait, where did I put that? Make sure I didn't lose that. That's important. I didn't even tell you the story of me trying to turn my savings bond in. That was I didn't put it back. I put it back.
It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga. Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth?
I have no idea. It is a bit of a story. It took me a long time today. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence, if they're wielding it here somehow. The waiter's business card information has been updated. A sketch of the restaurant's layout is on the back. On the front, it's stated that Hosonaga is a police inspector. Yeah, I tried presenting this freaking piece of evidence just a second ago, and you guys were like, "This man's an idiot!"
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency, that's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon. Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. The waiter's profession. But that surely. Good gracious. That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads Chief Inspector Primary Criminal Investigator Division Imperial Police Bureau.
What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. I know, what a long title. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Even though usually you're the one giving waiter your orders. I'm sorry, I just made that up. Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well. The waiter's talking, probably? Yep. Inspector Hosonaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. I actually remember that. They did give us a small hint earlier. They were like, could you draw out the floor plan? And he was like, I don't really want to hand this over, or something like that, because it had like his actual name on it. And they were like, give it over, or something like that. And he was like, okay. Oh, they're showing us.
The court will take this plan and edit to the court record as evidence.
Yeah, this. He's like,
Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course, here you are.
yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card.
I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So you mean to say you really are a detective?
But why would a detective be working out as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course! Your salary must be terrible! I was working undercover. Undercover?
Yes, there have been a series of incidences at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidences at the restaurant. What kind of incidences? That would be classified police information, which I...
Oh, sorry, wrong voice. Can you turn the game volume down just a notch and speak up a bit more? I can't not be much louder, but I can turn the game volume down. There's that. I turned it down like a little bit. You'll have to let me know if that's better. It was like a little bit, though.
That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will elaborate one point for the court.
Okay, good. I'm glad I could equalize it a bit for you.
Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I'm led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct?
Hydrate.
Correct, Your Excellency.
Unbelievable!
As I suspected.
Ah, geez, Louise.
As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite of the victim at the same table was a young lady whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the bureau. It was then that I received some special orders.
Special orders? You mean to say...
Remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders.
But what if this Englishwoman was the killer?
I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect.
Yeah, when he coughs up blood.
Well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case.
But it's not right.
One possibility does spring to mind.
What do you mean, Kazuma?
Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. And I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical facility's research laboratory, is a young English woman.
What?
You're a shrewd man. I can clearly see why you're chosen for the overseas study tour.
You mean...
When I removed the young woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first.
Then the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector.
The English woman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research facility at Yume's University Medical Faculty.
What is happening here?
I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with the situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a peculiarly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered... I don't know why it is, but when you speak as the waiter, it's hard to hear. Oh, sorry. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point.
But Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of the ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom.
Ah!
Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency.
But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly.
So it won't be a problem?
Nothing will get in my way. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes? Your Excellency!
Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening.
To be continued. I will save my progress. November, 11:38 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, Defendants Antechamber 5.
Excellent work, Ryunosuke. That was superb.
My heart's in my mouth the entire time.
It was almost unbelievable. I mean, looking at you in there. You were drenched in sweat, your eyes popping. Knees weak, mom's spaghetti. Your knee is knocking.
He actually said the knee thing. I made that up before I read the line.
And you were grinding your teeth. It was a grim sight, but before I knew it, you'd started finding inconsistencies in the testimonies. I think you might have a natural talent for being a lawyer.
Forget it, it's terrifying. If I get through this, I don't ever want to see the inside of a courtroom again.
There's 2 games in this series, buddy. Anyway, it looks like we've exposed your Phantom Lady at last.
Second time you've heard a Mom's Spaghetti reference?
Miss Giselle Brett? A student from Great Britain, is she? That's what I was trying to tell everyone from the start. But they were like, nah, bro, you made it up. You're seeing women in your brain. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone.
Yeah, MC, you're gonna be here for a while, yep.
There was a young woman with him, like I've been saying all along.
Yes, you have, haven't you?
I might not be overly confident in the courtroom, but my powers of observation are one thing that I am sure of.
Yes, I can see that. So, about this young gentlewoman. Thanks to our detective friend, she was hastily escorted away from the scene, it seems. Do you see what happened with that?
No, I didn't see any of it.
I was just on my way out of the restaurant myself. Then, on the floor, next to Dr. Wilson's table, I noticed there was a gun lying on the floor, and just after I bent down and picked it up, bang! I didn't have time to think about where the sound of the gunshot had come from. The waiter ran over to me, looking as white as a sheet, and he bundled me in some sort of small pantry next to the kitchen. Fast thinking by the detective, he apprehended a suspect without a moment's delay.
Yes, because I was shut in the pantry, I have no idea what happened on the outside of the dining area.
Ah, there you are. Well done, both of you. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Professor Mikatova!
Well, it seems I was right. The pair of you make an outstanding team. You've exceeded my expectations, I have to say.
Yes, it seems you planned this from the start.
You arranged so many things so that I wouldn't be able to act as a lawyer in trial. You arranged things, not so many. I just don't know where that came from. Sorry about that. Our modern country is still in its infancy, our justice system even more so. Which is why I firmly believe that we need to send our brightest young stars overseas so that they can learn. I wanted to avoid a situation that may have resulted in your study tour to Great Britain being cancelled.
Well, it makes no difference. Lawyer or otherwise, I'm the kind of man who can't help his best... If I'm the kind of man who can't help his best friend avert the worst crisis of his life, I shouldn't waste everyone's time by going to study overseas anyway.
What are you saying, Kazuma?
He's saying he's trying to prove himself.
So that's your stance. I was afraid you'd feel that way.
Kazuma?
Well then, it looks like it all comes down to you, young man.
To me?
Yes. You need to prove your innocence and uncover what really took place in that restaurant. If I must say that you...
But I butchered that, and then I went past it, expecting myself to read it properly.
I must say, I very much want to know the truth. After all, I have a personal connection to the case. I shot the man. I mean, I know the man.
Come to think of it, he said the same thing earlier this morning, didn't he? If you don't mind me asking, Professor, how did you know the victim?
Yes, or did you know the victim? Yes, I did. As you're probably aware, Dr. John H. Wilson was a visiting professor at UMA. And it was I who invited him.
Oh, I see.
I didn't know that before. Anyway, you're about to go into battle. The victim was a university professor from Great Britain, and a well-known one at that. Naturally, our government is looking to identify and punish the culprit as quickly as possible. But let's not forget who we're up against.
The gentlewoman whose involvement our police bureau went to extraordinary lengths to hide. Yes, and I'm sure the prosecution will use every tool at their disposal to quash your case. I've no doubt that you pair will put up a good fight, right to the last. Best of luck. Thank you. Now then. I need you to run an errand at the university at once. There's something I think we may need. Of course. Good luck, Kazuma-sama. Defendant Naruhodo! Court recess is over. Please make your way back to the courtroom at once. It's time. Let's get back to it, partner. Let's get in there and deal a decisive blow before those old fossils know what hit them. She totally did it. That's why they're, and she's like some diplomat, so they're like, get her out of here, it's gonna ruin the relations or something. Kazuma? What? Thank you. Really? What for? Ooh, that's a good Jangma-O. Maybe I hold on to that one. 14, 14, 12, I think? What for? Well, if you hadn't said you believed me, then I'm pretty sure I would have been found guilty by now. Look, I have faith in you. That would be like my fourth one, though. I already have 3 really good ones. I have a 100 IV one that's like 3,500 CP, so as a lawyer and as a friend. Coming from you, that means a lot. If I'm found guilty in this trial, he's really going to give up on his dream of studying abroad. That's the kind of true friend he is. So this isn't just my battle anymore. Whoever we're up against, we absolutely cannot afford to lose. I didn't know that. That's impressive. Yeah, it can be. Thanks. Alright then. I'll save the thank yous for after the trial. You could treat me to one of those sukiyaki meals like I like from Yume Cafeteria on University Street. With an extra large portion, of course. I was gonna say we go out for burgers. Okay. 22nd November, 2:12, 9 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature Courtroom 2. I thought we were in like court antechamber 5. Whatever. The court hereby resumes the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Aochi, have you managed to subpoena the witness?
Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government.
Ugh, sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about.
It's highly unlikely that the good relations we forge with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. But you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation found...
And our nation... Does it mean flounders? I think they messed up. I think that's a misspelling. But you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and our nation founders? It's flounders. A typo in Ace Attorney is so rare. There's like maybe 2 every game or something. Like, right here in case 1. Ouch. Oof. Big oof. It's rare, but I enjoy spotting them. Yeah. Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. We really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke.
What do you mean?
Secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungled investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England?
Shut up, you jumped up rookie boy. You and your friend know nothing of our situation our nation finds itself in. We're foundering, I tell you, foundering all over the place. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures.
I won't deny that I'm no expert, I'm just a student. And one who could arguably study harder, too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing that I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Well said, Ryunosuke. Despite the wide-eyed look of terror.
You little brats!
Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system and exists solely for the pursuance of the truth. That's why we will interview a parrot in a few hundred years. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. The visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett.
Yes! Your Excellency!
I'm doing it terribly on purpose. Because he's Max Payne. Ooh, I like her hat.
Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land.
Tea. Someone bring English tea. In England, no discussions take place without tea.
Is that true? No idea.
So, ahem.
For a pain? Ouchie?
Could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court?
Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at Le Carnival.
Yes, we know about you already.
Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first.
They just want to hear the lady talk for some reason. Is that true? Oh, it's time for me to go. No idea. Time to go. Time to go. All right, I might pick this up later. I'm having fun. I'd like to get this court case done. But I will see you later. Yeah, I'll try to have fun. Bye.